All right, today I'm going to talk to you about how to use your calculator to find a numeric integral. So definite integrals have those bounds on the bottom and the top. And the goal here is just to show you the progression of buttons to push so that you know how to do this. One of the things I will say is it is very important for you to become proficient in using your calculator for calculus concepts because half of the test is going to have those calculator questions and you want to be proficient in those. So I did not do a very good job of this in first semester, and I will make sure to do a better job with it in this semester. If you need help at all with your calculator functions, please reach out because that is definitely something that you want to know how to do in addition to knowing how to do these things by hand. So the function that we're using on our calculator, it looks like this. It's called FNINT. So it's calculating the integral of a function, and you're going to find it in the math menu here on your calculator. So that's the very first button that you push. If you have a TI, you push math, and that's going to bring up a whole menu of operations that you can do to a function. You're going to scroll down to option 9, which says FNINT. If you have a TI-83 like me, then this is exactly what it's going to put on your screen then to begin plugging that in. If you have a TI-84 or something fancier than that, it's actually going to give you the integral symbol with all of these boxes here. And the boxes are nice because you know exactly what you're plugging in because you just want to make it look like this. So if you have the boxes and you can just navigate to that, then you don't really have to worry about the progression of this. But if you have a TI-83, then it's important to know how to enter these in here in the correct order. So once you've got that function up, the very next thing that you want to enter is the function inside of your integral. And so for our problem here, we're going to do x squared plus 3x minus 1. So on your calculator, notice that your variable button is here with that xt theta n. So I'm going to use that button to begin entering my function. I've got x squared plus 3x minus 1. Okay, at this point, you then need to put a comma. So the comma button you're going to see right here is next to the squared button. So we're going to put a comma, and then we have to tell our calculator what variable we're integrating in terms of, which maybe seems silly, but that is an important thing to note. So that's what this dx is at the back. So because we see an x there, we're going to put an x after our comma. Okay, so we're telling our calculator, integrate this function, x squared plus 3x minus 1, in terms of x. And then we're going to put a comma after that x. And then we're telling our calculator to go from -3. Make sure you use the negative button and not the subtraction symbol. If you use subtraction, it's going to give you a syntax error. Okay, so we're going to use -3. We're going to put another comma. And then we're going to put our upper bound, which is 4. Okay, and once we're done there, you can close parentheses if you want. It doesn't matter if you don't. And you press enter, and by pressing enter, you're going to get a final answer of 33.83 repeating. Okay, so let's take a look at another example just so you can work through one with me again. So again, our series here, I'll write it at the top so that you can kind of follow along. So it's that function integral, and then we're going to enter the function inside of our integral, comma, the variable we're integrating in terms of, which is x, comma, the lower bound, comma, and then the upper bound. Okay, so let's begin here. Remember that that integral function is in the math menu. So we're going to press math, and we're going to go down to option 9, and then we're going to enter our function. So we have natural log of x plus 4. Natural log, you'll find it right next to the 4. Make sure that you close your parentheses after the x plus 4. Okay, otherwise you're going to confuse your calculator. So you use that natural log x plus 4, close parentheses. Then you're going to put a comma. You're telling your calculator what variable you're integrating in terms of. So that's going to be the variable x. Then you're going to put another comma. Then we have our lower bound, which is 3. Then you're going to put a comma. And then our upper bound, which is 0. And yes, I did intentionally put the higher number at the bottom and the lower number at the top. If you remember, we learned that when you switch those, it changes to a negative. So you can switch the order of the lower bound and the upper bound so long as you put the negative in front of the integral. But I'm just going to leave it the way that it's written because the less math I do by hand, the less room there is for error. So if I press enter on that, you'll see that the answer is negative. I would expect that because the natural log function should have some space above the x-axis, which makes it positive area. But because we're going from 3 over to 0, that is going to make it negative area, right? Because it's going backwards. So I have negative 5.076 for that answer. One more example I want to do with you, and this is just really testing your ability to punch things into a calculator. That's really the whole point here. But I do want you to pay attention real quick before we do a trig function. Okay, you have to make sure that your calculator is in radian mode. So you can check that by pressing the mode button. I don't know why I keep doing that. I put this up here so that I could show you. So press the mode button and just make sure that radian is highlighted. For calculus, you want your calculator in radian mode. Okay, that is going to be what you typically work in. And so you want to make sure that your calculator is in the correct mode, otherwise you get the wrong answer. So let's go ahead and enter our progression here. So we have function integral, which we find in our math menu, option 9. And then we're entering our function here. We want to make sure that we enter it with all the proper parentheses and everything. So we need parentheses on the top, 1 minus x, close parentheses. Then you're going to use your division symbol, and you have cosine, which is the button on your calculator, and that automatically opens up parentheses to then punch in pi. Pi x, and then close parentheses there. Okay, so you don't confuse your calculator. So what I'm showing you, what I'm writing out here is exactly what I'm pushing on my calculator. You're then going to put a comma because you've finished entering your function. Then you're going to use x because that's what you're integrating in terms of. Comma, you're going to use your lower bound, which is e. I forgot a comma. You'll find e as the second function here to the division symbol. If you push this button, e to the x, then it's going to make you put in an exponent, which you can do if you want, but it's probably better to just use that e button there. Okay, make sure it is that lowercase e. You can't use the letter e, right? The uppercase big letter E that you see here, that's a different function. Then you're going to use a comma, and then you're entering the square root of 23. Okay, close those parentheses and press enter. And your calculator is working really hard for this because it's really complex. Or my calculator is working really hard for this. Maybe yours already got the answer. Fun fact about this dinosaur here, this is my calculator from high school. So these last forever. So if you purchased one, it's money well spent. I guess only if you're going to use it that long. It's been through many years of math work and many years of sitting in a drawer unused as well. This is really having a hard time working this one out. I probably could have done without the square root of 23. I should have put the square root over the 1 minus x. Square root is this button here, right? Again, I want to just emphasize that becoming proficient in your calculator functions is going to be important. The AP test is timed, and so you do want to make sure that you know how to use your calculator well. All right, well, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I would love to know if your calculator was able to produce an answer for that. So shoot me an email to let me know what you came up with here, and I'm going to go work this one out so that I have an answer for you as well. If you guys want a little more practice, then you can go to page 308, and there's 3 more challenging integrals there that are intended to be done in a calculator, numbers 97, 99, and 101. And you can check your answers to that in the back of the book. Those are all odd answers. So thanks for watching, guys, and let me know if you have any questions. See ya.